Alright. Well, hello everybody. We just got this thing. I'm not gonna play the whole thing for you here. I could for my reaction, but I mean, like, I just don't feel like doing that. I'm sorry. But, will admit, successors, like, I'll give you my thoughts. This was great. This whole lore drop right here was amazing. The Doomfist simultaneously not getting killed while also still giving Vendetta a W was the best move. That was the best move, making sure Doomfist didn't completely die, but also making sure that Vendetta doesn't completely lose. She still gets to keep Talon. I think maybe they might do like. Here's my prediction, honestly. I think they're gonna rework Doomfist soon. Okay, I think they're gonna rework Doomfist soon, and they might do something crazy where they give him a new gauntlet. Not in any of the skins, like they make it the same, like visually, but they give it different abilities. Or they could bring his rising uppercut back as like a reference to how he rose back up from the ground. Like that'd be cool. I feel like that'd be cool. And personally, I'm a Doomfist man. I always wanted to see this guy either come back or get some sort of conclusion in the lore that was satisfying, and that's what we've gotten. I'm a Vendetta fan too, a little bit. I feel like her character itself is actually really cool, but the way they have executed it so far is disappointing. I don't like how they've executed Vendetta as this big vendetta, which I know is the point, but that's also not really like who she is or what she is. Like when you look at back at her past and you look at where she is now, it doesn't really line up to me. And the way that they made her act in a Doomfist fight was very weird because they try to pose Vendetta as equal to Doomfist, which with that big ass sword, I mean, dude, maybe, maybe okay, maybe, but the main thing that I'm trying to point out here is that Doomfist I hate power scaling, but Doomfist does kind of solo Vendetta. But we clearly see in the successor's story that this is more about Doom's failure to see like his own mistakes that were very similar to his previous mentor. It's his own failure to see his mistakes rather than him operating at a peak because he like that was the day where he fell from that peak. But yeah, and then he rises back up, of course. He doesn't just die right there. There's nobody there to take his gauntlet, and Vendetta might take the gauntlet for research or something. I don't know. I really don't know. But I've got about 30, 40 minutes before work. So just gonna play a bit of Overwatch, talk about this stuff. Um, Let me see. So recently, I have felt like Overwatch is doing pretty good for the most part. It's doing good enough for the casual players. Um, we're about to see something on screen though. Map vote. Map vote is something that I have wanted out of the game ever since it got added. It's not because it's necessarily bad as a system. Like a lot of people could argue that. Like you got 50-50 here. This has to be the most fair map vote I've ever seen. Wow. That's crazy. Usually what you'll get is if you get a favorite map, like a community favorite map, like King's Row on there, which I don't understand why King's Row is a community favorite. I don't hate the map. I don't see anything wrong with it, but I also don't see a lot of things wrong with like other maps. The only map I ever actually didn't like was Antarctic Peninsula. That was the only one, and they reworked that, and since it's felt fine. It felt okay. Mostly feels the same, but the same things that made it feel unfair before are not there, and I have found that that's like mostly a me thing. So that makes sense. And then we have the hero ban system, which you won't see at the moment. I don't think I'll be playing competitive in this video, just because I'm very casual at the moment. I'm very like I'll actually play might play Hog, who's for Matra. Uh, yeah, I'll do ball. I'll do ball. So the hero band system really gets me for a reason because it does the same thing as the map voting system, where community members will vote for one map for not really the best reasons. Like, you know, I watch competitive players. You know, not everybody does that, and I look at their opinions and I think, oh, well, these people are better at the game than me, so they're probably correct. And then I think through what they're saying, and they are correct. They genuinely are. But the problem is that people will not stop, like, banning whatever hero they think is meta. And I've seen, like, an all too common problem where you get a new hero, and since the hero is new, you gotta think about this, right? People are still getting used to it. If you play a new hero, like if you play Shion on release, and you think you're just the GOAT, that's probably not the case. Not because, like, I don't doubt whoever's watching this, like, I don't doubt your ability at, like, damage heroes or anything. Or, like, rush down hit scan flankers. But you have to understand that Shion is a new character with very, like, new abilities, like, new kinds of abilities. We don't have anybody who just, like, charges up a projectile and launches it besides Iliari. And that's her ultimate. And she dashes around and, like, boops you with it, but she can also turn really fast, so, like, it's kind of like a wrecking ball hat. Either way, like, Shion is just out of the ordinary. He is not anything we have really seen before, which is something I always like to see. You know, I haven't liked the recent damage heroes that are just kind of, like, very similar to what we've had before, and very, like, holy, the whole enemy team is going after me, man. Two of them, I guess. I don't know, that felt like the whole enemy team when it was May. Anyway, so you have a problem where people are taking the, like, newest hero that they got, not thinking about the fact that it's new and that, like, they're just gonna have to learn how to play against them. It doesn't seem like anybody thinks like that with any hero. Like, if you don't learn to play against them within the first matchup, then they're just another Mei or a Sombra, which is crazy to me. Learning Zenyatta when I played this game really gave me a good perspective, I think. One thing, though... Yeah, I'm just doing brainless ball right now. The one thing that really got me about Shion was that people instantly started calling her meta, and I couldn't see it. Like, she wasn't that hard to play against on tank, she wasn't that hard to play against on support, you just had to focus her. Like any other well-performing DPS, like, it's not that hard of an equation, it's not that, like... It's really not that hard. It's not... You just have to use your brain. And I feel like that's everybody in this game right now. Like, if you use your brain, you can see that everything that has given people joy recently is actually not inherently good for the game. Like, map votes and hero bounce. But they are inherently good for the team. They're inherently good because they give them some data to go off of, like, okay, which maps are people not voting, which maps are people voting. They already described this, literally, already, in their most recent Spotlight, I think. And they said that they might look into maps being voted against, like, maps being voted in juxtaposition to other maps. Like, but not being voted... Like, they have a low vote rate, but they don't have, like... They have a low vote rate, but it's high in comparison with other maps. And the Overwatch team just gathers enough data to just do stuff like that, which is really cool. I like that they do that. I wish they would use it a bit more. Because, you know, you can see, like, in Bronze, Gold, and Silver that, like, if you look at the meta hero for the season, typically the new one, which this isn't true, saw a pro player actually recently say that Shion was meta, and I don't know how you think that a hero like that is meta when there's things you can do against them. I think a hero is meta when you have, like, one singular thing you can do against them, and you have to swap to a particular hero to do it. Or like you need to play with your whole team and organize to beat that singular hero. Like unless they're a literal political tyrant level of opposition, I don't really think that matters. If you can play against it, you can play against it. That's how I look at it. But supposedly not everybody else. What usually ends up happening though is that when a hero gets banned, people are just okay with that. Like, everybody is perfectly fine playing without Sombra. Personally, it's a bit more boring without that challenge. Like, if the challenge I'm playing against on Doomfist is Orisa, and literally all they're doing is Javelin, like, that's the only thing they have against me, and that's the only thing that they're trying to do. Besides the fact that they have a lot more health than me, and they can naturally take a lot more space easier. Besides that, I mean, it doesn't really make sense. And then when I ask people why they banned a hero, it's because they are annoying to play against. And not because they're impossible to play against. Like, dude, have you seen how meta they are? No, it's just they're annoying. It's just they're annoying. I don't know why I expect more of gamers. I really don't. I really don't know why I expect more of gamers, because I keep getting proven time and time again that I'm the only one here with a brain in these lobbies. Gameplay might not seem like it, but I'm talking right now. A lot of my head is being used on trying to articulate an argument, like, I'm trying to think of who's watching this, kinda. No, not really, that's not true. I'm trying to think of how to word this in just a way that makes sense. I'm not trying to gear this towards anybody, and that might be a bit of a problem, you know. Viewer engagement might have dropped off 8 minutes ago, but that's fine by me. You know, I'll get the viewers who engage with my content eventually. You have to upload consistently for a while for people to start getting your old videos and your new videos and stuff like that. And also a lot of traffic on my channel is being stolen from a video that made $2,000 already, which I will not have access to because I'm not part of the partner program. I just want to make that public information. Anyway, hero bans have a very critical issue with the Overwatch community, which is that they were already not really thinking about what they are supposed to do against heroes that they don't like playing against. They're not thinking about what they can do to play against them better. And the hero bans exacerbate that problem. And the reason I see that as a problem is because, like, your players aren't supposed to learn how to play against every single piece of bullshit in your game. But what I am saying is that they can. And this is a hero shooter, where you can swap. If you need to swap to play against the new hero, like, because you can't, not because you have to, like they're meta or something, but because it helps you fight against them, then that's okay. I know plenty of people are okay with swapping. I'm not. I'm not okay with swapping. I really am not. I think it's just part of me being a stubborn person. I really like playing this hero, and I don't see the purpose in swapping to characters I am literally worse at, for the theory that they're just so much better in this game scenario that it'll balance out. No, I don't think that's how it works. Holy. That's a lot of ultimates. Okay, Junkrat just stole my whole trap plan there. Anyway, the main thing I want to get across to you is that the whole Overwatch community is getting softer and softer, weaker and weaker, and getting all too used to, like, hero bans and map votes, because now, they're, like, nobody who starts out playing Overwatch in, like, 2026 is going to get the experience of having to learn those maps, like, being forced to learn those maps. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that means you're literally worse at the game than you would have been. The game is literally preventing you from getting better at it. Maybe you don't want to, like, have that mindset, though. Maybe you want to just play the game, have your fun with your heroes. You don't really care if you want to lose. It's just about, like, having the cool ultimates. All the Christmas lights on the screen, you know, to make you happy. Whatever. This isn't who I'm talking to. Like, I'm talking about the people who want to actually, like, rank up or something. I don't really care about my own rank, but some people just want to see their skill represented. And that's completely understandable. I used to want that too. And if you want to get better at the game, then you need to learn everything about the game. In a way, kind of like you just need to learn the whole game. Maybe not everything about the game, but you need to learn the whole game. I worded it differently to show that difference, that you don't need to know how to play Winston to rank up in ranked. You don't need to know how to play Diva. You don't need to know how to play like this tank or that tank. You need your three tanks that cover a wide enough playstyle to cover the scenarios that you need them in. Personally, I play heroes based off of my challenges. Like right now, I'm doing heroes that are explicitly not in my top 3 played. Oh, even though I already finished that challenge. You can see how far behind I am on the Stadium. I'm not going to get into Stadium right now, but Stadium is boring. Well, I mean, sorry, not get into it too much. I will briefly cover it. Stadium is boring because it is long. It is a very long-winded game mode with a lot of things to do, and I think if they made it so you had less time to pick perks and abilities between each round, then it would be better. It would generally be better, because part of what makes Overwatch 2 so easy to get into is the fast queue times. Part of what makes it so hard to get into is when it's slow, when it's really slow. And Stadium games, I am so glad that right now Stadium is at 10 games. They could have made it the same amount as competitive. I think competitive 30 games is kind of crazy for the weekly challenge. I mean, I know that it's a weekly challenge, so like the theory here is that somebody plays the whole week, but if that's on the same scale, thinking that people's minimum for Stadium is like 10 games a week is crazy. That's weekly challenge. So anyway, like Stadium feels a bit boring to me, at least. I'm gonna say it is boring, but you can make it interesting for yourself. Like, but we already have perks. I feel like Stadium is a little useless when you already have perks, and I know it's more than that. Like, I played Doomfist in that game mode. It was really fun to have that cooldown move of like mini meteor strike, and then uppercut, and then punch, and then slam, and then mini meteor strike. Like just having 5 abilities on hand was like, that felt insanely nice on a character where like you just gain over health from using abilities. It was crazy busted. It was great. Like it was a sustain and a stall build. It wasn't necessarily a kill build, and people need to realize that right now Doomfist is way too like feast or famine at the moment with his rocket punch to actually secure kills safely. So he either has to take a massive risk and give up space for a moment to secure a kill, or you just make sure that you hold your own space naturally with the objective. Like right now I can use the advantage of push. Push gives me a objective that moves forward constantly, even though I'm Doomfist, where my space does not constantly move forward, and it is very hard to get that space to move forward. Even though I have Rocket Punch, not everybody is going to feed into it like that all the time. It just doesn't always happen. Anyway, so hero bans make people overall worse at the game, and map votes make people overall like their game sense. They decrease that. Their game knowledge decreases because they get to see the maps less. Yeah, sure, if you play enough, you see all the maps, but that would have happened so much faster with a random map vote, or not a random map vote, with just random map. I think that map votes should be limited to competitive. I do not think they should be in quick play, because it also made quick play slower, which, I mean, it's in the name, man. Why did you do that? Why did you make quick play slower? Why would you do that? I don't understand why you would do that. It's mostly just for player satisfaction. When people are playing quick play, they're a bit more casual. Casual players don't want to have a game that isn't exactly what they want. Something that's also crazy is that I've seen hero progression get very high in the low MMRs. Recently, I've had a new friend, not a new friend, a friend that's new to Overwatch. I don't know why they got into it. It's crazy to me. They just wanted to play games with me, and they saw that I was Overwatch all the time, so like, it's natural, you know, like, hey, I got this friend that I really like, but I don't really share a lot of games with them, so I'll just learn one of the games that they play. Ended up being really fun for them. They saw Venture and they really liked them, so yeah. But playing with that new player means that as a, like, I'd say I'm medium MMR in quick play because I'm part of the quick play group that, like, kind of takes it a tad seriously. Because I use quick play as just another way to play the game. I'd say I play about the same in competitive or in quick play. It's just that the difference is that because there's no, like, competitive MMR on the line in quick play, I will purposefully play new heroes, and I mean new, like really new. Another principle to understand is that competitive is for learning. Competitive is for learning. I don't know why people say that it isn't. That's an actively harming mindset, that, like, you're not learning in competitive, because if all you do in competitive is win or lose, then that's kind of meaningless. And if all you do in quick play is learn, then, I mean, you're not going to learn much in quick play, okay? Like you're going to learn how to aim pretty well, you're going to learn how to use your abilities, what they do. You're going to learn the fundamentals of the game, which is really important. I'm glad that the game has people win 50 games, minimum. I think it's quick play, not any game mode, I don't think. But you can win, like, you gotta win 50 games, and then you can play competitive. I'm glad they did that, because I was wanting to, like, you know, when I was back on Zenyatta, 12 hours in, and I was, like, 20 games into my challenge, and I was like, why don't they just let me play already? Like, I'm winning half my games here, man. Or, like, most of my games. And I was complaining, because I didn't realize that I was just learning the game quicker than most people. I was also one-tricking. Something that, like, people underestimate the consistency of a one-trick. Like, no matter how bad I am at Doomfist right now, because I'm yapping about stuff, I will be so much better at the game than I would be if I was playing Malga. You need to understand the concept that no matter how annoying it is to have a one-trick on your team and have them never swap, you need to understand that swapping is worse for them. Swapping in quick play would be a good decision, though. Genuinely. Like swapping in quick play to learn a new hero, every one-trick needs to learn, like, a couple more heroes than their one-trick. Even if you're only gonna learn them for, like, a couple hours. Jeez. Okay, Diva. Even though, if you're only gonna, like, learn them for a couple hours, you just need them now. Because, like, the fear, for tank at least, isn't other people picking it anymore. We already lost that worry with 5v5. But now, the worry is that you're just gonna get banned. And if you play a tank that is currently, like, or if you just play, like, a hot button tank, like, if you play Doomfist, yeah, you gotta learn a different main. You need to, like, learn Doomfist enough to be good enough at him in competitive, and then also learn a different tank. So that way, whenever he gets banned, you have something to swap to. You have, like, a decent thing. It's more about, like, how much you learn a hero rather than how good a hero is in this specific composition. I would love it if, like, Overwatch just worked like that, but it doesn't, because none of us are computers. And if you're not a pro player, genuinely, getting better at your current hero matters more than swapping. Getting better at the maps you don't like matters more than voting against them. And getting better at fighting the heroes you don't like to fight against matters better than, like, it matters more than banning them. And learning which heroes to ban, and, like, which ones are meta this season. I don't care what's meta this season. If you learn to play against it when it's meta, it'll be measly when it's not meta. It'll just be measly. Because you played against it when it was meta, like, because I played in an Orisa meta, and I played Doomfist into that Orisa meta for a while, I'm pretty good against Orisa, and I can win games against Orisa on Doomfist, and a lot of people will be like, a lot of people will think of that statement right there and think that's more about, like, my team carrying me, or it's more about my luck, or whatever other factors besides the fact that I just learned to play against Orisa, and Orisa mains never really learned to play against anything, because they were meta. Especially not against Doomfist, because Doomfist is so easy to be dominated by Orisa, they never really learned what it's like to have it the other way around. You see how it works? Like, like the whole game is this tug-of-war of what hinders you from learning and what doesn't. it's the comparison of like a game that's geared to casuals and a game that's geared to competitive. And it does operate a pretty fine line, like a pretty fine in-between. I kind of like the in-between, I also kind of don't. Because the in-between keeps our casual players around, and you do need casual players to keep a game good. But I feel like the casual players would have been more satisfied with a better hero balance rather than a better system. Also, I think we probably got better community feedback back when we had random maps, because whenever people got that map, it was instantly hated. Like, you wouldn't go anywhere with seeing Antarctic Peninsula, like, hated by the competitive players. You wouldn't. You wouldn't see any competitive player vouching for Antarctic Peninsula. I didn't know they pushed the robot away. You wouldn't see any of them vouching for it, though, because it was a bad map. Same thing with, I forget the name. It was either Havana or... No, it might have been, Rio de Janeiro. No, not Rio. I don't know. I forget what maps are in the game. Quick play Kingsborough. Okay. Oh, I'm backfilling. We probably are about to lose. Oh, no, we're not. Okay. Then I guess I won't go hamster. I was gonna go hamster because the last time I backfilled into a Kings Row game, they were right here on point, and I just had to hold hamster ball, and I diffed the other hamster for like 5 minutes. It was really fun. We ended up losing, but it was still really fun. Yeah, overall thoughts, I think the Overwatch community is getting weaker as a player base, not just in their words or how much they're heard, because clearly, I mean, look, the devs literally just added features to our game that make it so they have to listen to data rather than people. Which makes it a lot simpler, and it's because the people are hard to listen to. A bunch of whining Overwatch players to listen to instead of just looking at the raw data like, okay, you guys vote this map more than that map, okay? I'm just gonna make that map. Like, I'm gonna not focus on that map, and I'll see why you guys aren't voting the other one. Why aren't you guys voting the other one? You know, it's like, it's still got sight lines, it's still got, like, a point. It still has the bare minimums, why aren't you guys voting for it? Oh, it has this horrible choke point that's really hard to fight through. Hint, I mean, the new Cyberpunk map that they added, not actually Cyberpunk, but like that. I think it was Neon City. Neon City does have a bit of a hard choke point to fight through because it has a double-walled choke point with a thing in the middle, and it's kind of like a flipped version of Kings Row. It actually might literally be a flipped version of Kings Row. Like a horizontally flipped version of Kings Row. It's like... That's interesting, now that I think about it. Neon City is just a flipped version of Kings Row. But you have that choke point, right? Now you're just giving them raw data. Same thing with hero bans. Instead of hearing the community slop of like, oh, I hate this hero, I hate that hero. Like, if we listened to the community all the time, Mei would be in the ground, Sombra would be in the ground, Moira would be in the ground, Mercy would be in the ground. Let me keep thinking about all the characters that people never learned to fight against and instead just ended up hating. Because they can't think it's their fault. They can't think that it's a skill issue. If they think it's a skill issue, then that might mean they actually rank up because they learn from their own lessons. I'm 30 minutes into this video, I'm gonna end it soon. So, I'll wrap up by saying, the new story was peak. It was peak, okay? If you're a Vendetta main and you don't like that, like, well, I actually can't see any group of players that wouldn't mind Doomfist coming back, especially with the way they did it. The way that they posed his face when he, like, stuck his head up from the ground and, like had that locked-in face. Like, I don't know. I thought that was really cool the first time. Corny every other time I rewatched it, but, like, I made a gif out of it, so, you know, that's pretty cool. But the main thing... wait, sorry. I was still listing off stuff. So, Doomfist story, really cool, really cool. My opinions on hero bans and map votes have not changed. I think they make the player base weaker, and they mostly benefit the dev team rather than us, which I guess is okay. I guess it's good. You know, it's been a long time since they ever got benefits from this game, but fine. Um, I'll play this last game and then finish up the video. So, main thing that I see with the community at the moment is that because they're still getting worse at the game from the new features, they are not going to be able to see when they are in the run. Because the skill issue will just be too great. It's going to be too average to just have a skill issue. I'm predicting that like gold players will get into plat in the coming seasons. Like hard stuck gold players will begin to move up ranks if they're actually trying, and not in like the normal way where they're like trying and they're getting better at the game and they're like swapping correctly or whatever. It's better in the way that like it is easier to move up the ranks now. Kind of like how the Marvel Rivals competitive system boosts people. But, you know, apart from that, the game is realistically doing okay right now. It is approachable, more approachable than it has been in the past, but also not very approachable because we keep adding new heroes, but we have to add new heroes to keep it interesting for the old players and the new players, you know? Like, we can't just have the same heroes that make this game look the same. If the game looks the same, then it's too easy for people to assume that, like, the game's just the same. So we don't do that. We keep adding new heroes. We added 5 heroes in a new season, and it surprisingly didn't feel all that new. Surprisingly, adding 5 new heroes felt like the most boring thing the game could have done. I didn't want new heroes, I wanted new hero balance. I wanted them to do something about Doomfist, do something about Malga. Maybe revert Malga back to his original design concept where he had 2 different types of guns. That sounds cool, man. I might have been a Malga main. And it wouldn't have been a bad thing because the guy would have had a higher skill ceiling if we stuck with the original concept. They just had to add another tank that contributes 0 substance value to the actual team, and instead it's just a bit of a brainless tank. It's a bit of a Moira in the tank category. And you do need at least 1 of those. You do need, like, maybe 2. But having 3 is just a bit too much. Because we've still been in this cycle of, like, you know, the whole like triple tank type cycle of the meta problem tanks. Flats has described this concept before. He's correct. If you ever want good takes on the game, just listen to Flats, okay? He's an oracle, he's seen the game for a while, he may not have been here forever, and he may have had some gaps recently, but you don't need to watch Overwatch 2 right now, to have good opinions about it. As long as you've been watching, like, at least, like, if you paid attention in 2023, then you know where the game is at for the most part. Perks improved things temporarily, and then we got Stadium, so now they just kind of feel normal. And perks mostly just feel like another thing, like they just feel like another game system now. They used to feel really interesting and really overpowered, but like now they're just a normal thing in the game. They don't actually influence things enough. And I thought, like, oh man, you're gonna have to look at these symbols on the scoreboard and like think, oh, which perk is that? Oh, now I gotta play against this hero this specific way. No, I don't have to think about that. Maybe at the competitive level, but I'm not at the level yet where like the only thing left is perks. Which is why perks are so nice. Perks enable me, somebody who one-tricks, to keep one-tricking. Before, genuinely, the solution was swapping, for the most part. Like, after a certain point, the skill ceiling doesn't matter anymore, and you need to swap because your hero is too ineffective against a certain hero. But now that there's perks, you can change their playstyle around that certain hero. Like, something I realized recently is that because your block doesn't mitigate enough damage in the first place to be good, like, to be a good block against a melting comp, the best thing you can do to still take space as Doomfist is Aftershock. The Aftershock major perk can help you lessen their advance while still doing whatever a slam does. It'll put more power into your slam, so it'll make you less punch heavy. And I'm out of abilities. See, what I don't like about Doomfist is that he's very reliant on cooldown, so whenever I get a nano, I have to have like all of my abilities off cooldown and also be like right in front of the whole team. And what happened there is that the whole team just kind of moved past me. Kind of forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, right, the perks. So the whole balance of the game right now is hinging on hero bans, map votes, perks, all these external systems that we installed when I legitimately believe we could have just balanced it raw. Just made them fundamental designs. Don't make this weird progression system in your game that, like, feels like every perk is a minor. Like every perk is a minor perk. It just doesn't make sense. This push game is really long for when I want to end this video. This might end up being 40 minutes. I don't want people to have to click on like a 40-minute Overwatch Yap video. Yeah, even in this scenario, like if I swap to anything else against Reinhardt, like let's say I do Lamatra, because oh, punch through shield equal counter. No, you guys are both just holding a bunch of shields. It's just a mitigation game. It means that you put the rest of the responsibility on your team to take space. The nice thing about tanks like Doomfist, like Doomfist, is that you have to dive in to take space, so you are more of an active role in taking space, rather than I am a like big chunk of health standing in front of everybody, and that means that everybody will have to take space by fighting me. And that's the inherent difficulty of tank. But Doomfist means, hey, a little less space inherently, but a bit more space actively. Very tricky. Sure, like it's very tricky active space. A better example of like active and passive space is Orisa. Orisa does crazy active space and passive space because she has like 800 health, maybe 725. I might not have checked recently. That's a lie, I haven't checked recently. Because no matter what, she always feels like she has a lot of health and a lot of active space taking that I just don't have. But she's also simple in that. She's also very predictable in that. She can only do certain things. She's not as flexible as Doomfist is because she doesn't have the mobility of Doomfist. Okay, so they're going on that side. Okay. Never mind, they're not. Reinhardt's taking good space here. He's just kind of slowly walking towards me instead of playing the game that I've been playing with him. Something that people don't realize is how little Doomfist, like, actually holds space. But the little thing that keeps it going is the fact that he keeps punching you back into the space that he wants you to be in. But yeah, if the whole team focuses Doomfist, then everything happens. The sucky part about being a tank with less passive space is that your team doesn't know how to take the active space that is left by a tank that does not have the active space taking of Orisa and the passive space-taking of Orisa. It's just hard to play against once you have passive, or like, not really passive, but active things that are more passive by comparison because they're not that powerful. Oh, let's go C9. Oh, let's go. That was glorious. That was perfect. And that's what happens when Doomfist distracts you. Which is also another nice thing, you know. You can just, oh hey, I gotta play the game apparently. Great. I can actually go and see what that play of the game was. I'm actually curious, because I was brainless that whole game, so I'm really curious what that play of the game was. I'll look at this and then I'll end the video. If you guys have made it this far, thanks for watching. That wasn't particularly fun, but, you know, I like getting my thoughts out. I've been asking members what they think about the hero bans and map votes, and they all seem to be satisfied, and in a way that makes me more mad than I was before. Regardless, Overwatch is a game that people are going to assume is kind of bad, and assume is, like, not really worth saving. And also not capable of being saved. Like, if you ask a random person on the street, or like just a gamer on the street, or like if you watch your like if you ask your coworker at a Best Buy, like if they play Overwatch, they probably don't. And they also probably still think the game is just as bad as it was on release. Like if they like Overwatch 2. I still talk about it like Overwatch 2 because I don't like the fact that they rebranded. It is a different game. Okay, when they made Overwatch 2, it is a different game. Like I don't know why people don't realize that 5v5 is such a drastic change to the game that it doesn't really matter that all the same heroes are there. They also still like they added push. Like they added so many different things, man. It's not just one less player. That's that's so simplistic. Like if I can't convince you that Overwatch and like Overwatch 1, like 2016 release up until 20 2020, 2021 technically. Um and then 2022 Overwatch 2 comes out, and then they literally remove like 2016 Overwatch to be available for play. It's crazy to me that people are just like, oh, they're just the same game. They didn't really like. Just because an update doesn't improve something doesn't mean that it didn't change everything. It changed everything, man. And it also made it so um we got really good communication with our team, you know. We got perks now. I mean that was way into the game. We got a whole health rebalance. We got a projectile and hit scan hitbox rebalance. We got this many heroes now, which we started out the game with like two more heroes than we used to have. And then we had really frequent hero releases. Like the game kept changing. But people looked at it on day one and they were like, no, it's not different enough. And that's my problem. Like people don't give themselves or the game enough time to get good. Live service takes time to get good or decent or manageable. Now that they've got us in the same loop, like lenient amount of loot boxes, genuinely, like they could include more loot boxes and they give their players a little bit more dopamine. But I guess you wouldn't want your players having too many free skins now, would you? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think like a game executive or a game development team. This is just my thoughts. But the video's 42 minutes long now, so I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching this yap, if you have. I'm very surprised. Um, Noche per día estoy no but I'll see you in the next video. Bye.